Jesus, that fucking made me jump. Have you turned your I was just gonna say, have you, like, turned yourself up or something? That was like ear rape. Dang it.
Hello, hello. Okay, that's working. And then I need to put it on that. Hello and welcome to the Only Judd podcast. It's just
me.
Judd because, well, it'll not sound like just Judd on the audio version. If you're watching the video version, it's just Judd's face for now.
It's just
Because
me.
I'm eating
And
a pot noodle, and
do my
I
hair
don't
or
like to wear
anything.
shirts when I eat a pot noodle. So I can't show myself on camera. This is
Alright,
actually the
alright.
reason.
Alright. No, I hate that, like, it all that checks, like, that's fine. That makes sense.
Do you get that?
Yeah.
You're quite quiet today. I don't know what's going on.
I might just need to turn myself up
No,
on
no,
the
no.
thing.
Oh my god, no, now you're loud.
Oh
No,
god,
keep
okay,
your microphone
well,
where it was.
down.
I'll turn you up and down.
Okay.
I'm the one in control of you, Judd. How are you doing? It's been Christmas. We've had a Christmas time.
Yeah, we did. We did a bit of Christmas, little bit of Christmas, and you spin yourself around, and you're doing a Christmas. Yep.
And what did you think
It was
about
good. I had a good time. I'm at that age now where it's just nice to see like everybody together and happy.
Are you firmly
So-
in the stage of preferring to watch other people open gifts?
Yeah, I'm definitely at that point.
And
Easily.
Who's your favourite to give gifts to in your family?
Probably my nan, because Nan's very big on that whole dang Christmas thing. So yeah, my nan.
But who do you actually give presents to? Because I know that, like, every Christmas I've had quite a limited budget for one reason or another. And I kind of try and limit who I can get away with giving presents to. So I give away presents to my parents, grandparents, and then just children, people under 18 in the family. How does it work for you?
Oh, people in your family, not just children. You know that you see like on the. For me, it's there. You go. Have that. So it's my nan, my granddad, then it's my little brother and my little sister, then my mum and her partner, then my dad and his
Whichever one she's
partner.
got at that moment.
Yeah. And whichever one he's got at that moment.
Yeah.
And I think that's it. I think that's everybody I got presents for.
Not many
Yeah,
kids in our families anymore.
No, we killed them all. Got them.
Yeah, we stomped those little fuckers right out.
Yeah.
Do you know what I've just done? I've just finished my pot noodle. I thought, right, I'll put my camera on. I've not put my shirt on yet. I nearly fucked this entire thing. And he thought, that's the thing I can't show on camera. The pot noodle. It's not me with my gross shirtless body.
Not my man tits.
God, I've got man tits after Christmas. Which is why I decided to do a little bit of exercise today, because over Christmas I was thinking, fucking hell, I'm the grossest I've ever been.
Nice.
I say while I'm topless eating a pot noodle. That's why I was kind of a little bit late today, and that's why I'm eating a pot noodle, because I've not had time really to make any food. Because my exercise that I was doing, it took me a while. Just let me throw this t-shirt on 1 second. It's right here.
All right then. That's fine.
It'll only take me a moment. I'm doing it. One arm in. Ooh, I'm doing good. Oh, there's the other arm. It's
Hit the
going
other
over
arm
my
out.
head. Let's see, where is he? And there he is. Hello.
There he is.
I
Everybody
did it.
clap. Everybody clap like a bunch of infants.
Yay. if you're listening to this out in public, you have to clap. I don't care if it's embarrassing. You have to start clapping, and it has to be noticeable as well. You can't just do a little subtle one. You have to go, yay! Woo!
Yeah,
Yay! You have to do that. You have to do that so that everyone knows. What was I doing?
Everybody knows that you're a fucking psychopath.
Yeah, I went out and I decided, right, I'm going to go. I know it's wet. I know the weather's bad. I'm going to get a bunch of, like, warm clothes on. I'm going to put my hiking boots on. I've got these, like, wader things that you kind of, like, strap to your hiking boots that kind of essentially make them into wellies as well. It goes up your leg, but you still got the benefits of it being a hiking boot. I thought, you know what? I've not done exercise in a while. I should probably get out of the house as well, because I've been stuck inside doing Christmassy things all the time. Shut the fuck up. Every time I fucking start this shit, someone messages me. And I got all strapped up and went out. I was actually far too warm, to be honest, which I was getting really sweaty under those clothes. But the problem I had was I far overestimated how muddy it was, because there's this lake you can walk around near, man, and I know it's quite a long walk, but it was so fucking muddy. It was ridiculous, and it took me forever. So I was absolutely exhausted at the end of that. It was a proper trek. Really gross and really muddy. But that wasn't the grossest thing that I've had to deal with tonight, which is very interesting. Because when I got back, those hiking boots I've got, they've been starting to kind of crack a bit because I don't wash them if they get muddy, and that kind of breaks your boots and things like that. And so I went to wash them, and I'd left. There's this bucket that I just kind of leave out to collect rainwater in case we need any, like, water for whatever reason outside.
Yeah.
So I started washing one of them in there, and it got so muddy so quickly. So I emptied it down this drain that's outside the house.
Yeah.
And it didn't drain. The drain did not drain.
Oh.
I was thinking, oh, shit. So
I
started, and I'm thinking, oh, for fuck's sake, this has to happen now, doesn't it? When, like, I could do with a nap and a bath and you know, I need to clean these boots and so. Weirdly, there was some sort of miracle happened because I opened what I call the spidery bit of my. There's like a little outhouse at my house.
Yeah.
And there's just a fucking plunger there, just on the floor. Nice. I don't remember ever seeing this plunger in my life, but it was just there. So I'm thinking, oh,
cool.
Wow, that was a nice little miracle. I literally went, a miracle. And then just, like, carried on about my business.
Oh, look, a miracle.
So I plunged this fucking thing, and I realised that what's happened is there's a pipe that comes out of the kitchen, which is at the back of the house, and then points at this drain. So it's basically just draining stuff from the kitchen. Yeah. And there was a plastic plant pot covering the drain, like covering this pipe. It was like on the end of the pipe. It's quite long. So I was trying to get it off, and I had to get my hand in there, actually. It was really gross, and pull it off. And I heard it go like, you know, like kind of squelch off of the pipe.
Yeah.
It was gross. And a little bit of water, like, trickled out of the pipe afterwards. And then I was thinking, fucking hell, this is just like this is like a small plastic plant pot. Why is it so heavy?
Sorry, can I try and do the noise that it made?
Yeah.
It goes like that.
It was loud, so your mic didn't catch it. Give it another go.
Oh, I'll do it a bit further away. Like that.
I can see the motion you're doing,
and
so I get it.
Wait. What about that?
It's not happening, Jun. It was like this. It was like that. That's what you were trying to do, isn't it?
It's close enough, I suppose.
Yeah. Yeah, he did that. But I was thinking, this is way too heavy. And I looked in it, and it was full of, like, gunk. So I kind of used this plunger to tip it upside down, and then I could, like, grab the outside of it. And I grabbed it, and all this stuff, like, went out of it. It was, like, full of, like, and it stunk. It was horrible. Ugh. It was all, like, gross food waste that had gone, like, moldy outside and everything.
Nice.
I was, like, nearly puking. It was fucking horrible. So I just kind of, like, I used the plunger to kind of mash up because it had formed to the like shape of the pot, and I used it to mash it up a bit, and then I like washed it all away with buckets of water. And I started pouring water down the drain and like cleaning out any more gunk in there with the plunger as like a scraper. But yeah, that made me feel very gross, and I had to give myself a big scrub. And then I was obviously exhausted after doing that and like walking for way longer than I thought I was going to have to do. In fact, how far did I walk? I bet there's like a thing you can show how far you walked. I'm not going to show this on the screen, obviously, because it'll completely dox me. But I want to.
It'd be funny though.
Right, would it?
I suppose. In a cosmic sort of sense.
In a cosmic sense, it would be funny.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Where do I live again? There. That's where I live. I found it. How do I... Where's this thing? How do I tell it how far I've run? I went from here to here, then to here. Oh, this is close enough. Right, I'm going to be drawing out this kind of path, and then I'll tell you how far I went. But while I'm doing that, let's look at what other notes I had for things to talk about on this podcast. Okay. What presents did you get for Christmas, Judd?
Oh, God. You know what? A whole lot of fucking nothing. To be honest, actually, yeah, I kind of just got some really nice jumpers, to be honest. Like
some jumpers?
Yeah, just some nice looking jumpers. I don't think you like turtlenecks, do you? You're not a fan of turtlenecks. I feel like you're not.
I don't think they work with my style.
Okay, well, but when I wear that big sort of like coat and I've got a turtleneck on it, I like it. So there you go.
So you got a turtleneck.
I'm becoming a bit of a turtleneck representative. I think I don't know how I feel about it because I kind of get it as well. It's like turtlenecks. I like a bit of a douchey thing to wear. But
I don't know about that. If you can pull it off, you can pull it off.
But like I embrace it. I think I'm a douche. Anyways.
I don't know. I don't think turtlenecks are that douchey. I just think. I mean, if you can pull it off, you can pull it off. But so I walked.
Well, I can. So
the amount of miles I walked is far less than it seemed. Now that I'm looking at it, it was nearly 4 miles. Which actually really isn't that much. But to say I'm a big fat man now,
yeah.
I don't know. That seemed pretty realistic. I got some security cameras because I live in a crime-riddled wasteland, apparently. That's the running meme.
I can't believe you got, like, security. I mean, it's good. That's a good present because you live in a crime wasteland. You live in the Borderlands.
Well, part of it is because it's, like, smart security. And, I like my technology and, like, smart home things and all of that sort of thing. So part of it's because of that. Partially, it's good to have security and things like that.
Yeah.
So, just in, we've had someone fucking advertising free promotion on our channel again. I swear, most of our chat when we record this live on twitch.tv/streamsbadly as well as on YouTube, Streams Badly YouTube channel, I swear most of it is fucking bots trying to advertise more than actual people chatting, which is fucking worst. So if you only listen to this podcast after the fact, which could be on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and all sorts of other places, even Twitch, then, tune in live Wednesdays around 6 p.m. Why not? So,
why not?
Speaking of crime-riddled area that I got security cameras for, Judd, this morning at around 5:30 in the morning.
Oh, yes, a crime!
I had to get up because my bowels were doing a crime. I had a pizza the night before, and it was coming out. It was one of those where, like, I woke up in a panic, like, it's coming!
It's happening. This is happening now.
Luckily, it's about 2 feet away to my toilet from the bed, so I leapt out of bed and started going, and shitting my guts out. So I finally got done with that half an hour later, and I was just kind of watching a few videos in bed to kind of relax a bit. Yeah, I just heard this thunderous. And I'm thinking, what
Nice.
the fuck is Vin Diesel doing round my house at nearly 6 a.m.? What
Yeah.
a stupid time for this shit. What was it, Judd? Was it Vin Diesel? Do you think it was? Do you think he was just practicing his drag racing?
It must have been, because I don't know any other reason you'd want to do that.
There's
Any
no other
sane
reason
reason.
it could be. So that happened. What other stuff did I get for Christmas? I got some rum, which I've already recorded a taste test of. I recorded like 3 alcohol taste tests back to back the other day. So obviously I threw up from that. One of which was that rum. I got like chocolate and shit. I got a hamper full of stuff to cook nice meals with, things like that. I got
Damn.
money from our dad. That's what you got as well.
I got the same boys shirt again.
Did you? You got 2
Yeah,
of the same
yeah,
The
I got
Boys
2 of the same
t-shirts.
shirt.
Wow. Well, at least people know you.
So,
I would rather have 2 of that Boys t-shirt than the t-shirt that our dad got me.
and one of them, one of the t-shirts.
No, it was. Oh God, bless him. He just doesn't know anymore. My dad got me a t-shirt that's got a stormtrooper on it, and it says "Employee of the Month." It's not even a good t-shirt, even if you like Star Wars, to be honest. But I don't like Star Wars anymore. I actively don't like it. I mean, I used to be a fan of Star Wars to a certain extent, but it's been so bad in so many ways that I've given up on Star Wars now, and I'm not a fan. But I think this is I think he's got me this t-shirt, and it reminds me of the time when we would take the piss out of Dynamo the Magician. Do you remember that?
Yeah,
when he would do like obviously fake
going.
stuff on TV, and we would like do a stupid trick that we had a little meme to ourselves. We'd do a stupid trick that was obvious what we were doing, and then we go Dynamo, like pretending to be him.
Like so we'd really shittily do like the coin trick behind the ear thing, and like fuck it up. Like we'd fuck the trick up like on purpose, but then afterwards be like Dynamo. You know, that was the joke. But I think, Dad sort of like didn't get it. He was just sort of like, Dynamo. so he thought we liked
really
Dynamo.
We thought that Dynamo was a good magician. And he thought, bless him, we didn't say shit because he got us tickets to see fucking Dynamo live.
Yeah.
And he got us, I think it was 2 Dynamo DVDs.
Well,
he thought we were obsessed.
Yeah, he really did think that we were like obsessed with Dynamo or something. But we were like, well, this isn't like not gonna be entertaining, is it? Like so.
I didn't know. I'm sure there was a small debate of, do we tell him? Do we tell him that we think like this is really stupid? But we didn't tell him. I don't think we had the heart to tell him that. The show was entertaining. I will admit, the DVDs were shit. But that, I don't know. I thought that was quite funny. I think it's a similar sort of thing. Presents then, Judd. Did anyone get any iconic presents or anything like that?
Actually, mine. I'm sure she's fine with me telling this story. There's no reason
you can keep them anonymous. You can.
No. There's no reason. I was just going over it in my head. There's no reason why she wouldn't want me telling this story. My nan's mother always wore a Star of David around her neck, and she had.
She's not Jewish
or
anything. She just.
What? No. She is part of her family is.
Yeah, that's the joke.
So yeah. So just so you know, we don't do jokes on this channel. So she like. I had it or like lost it or something or something. But anyway, my granddad's found like basically the exact one. Wow. And that was very nice for her to get. So I'd say that definitely.
You'll love to hear it. My mum had a similar sort of thing, actually. Speaking of like wholesome presents, it was actually for her birthday because my mum's birthday is the day after Christmas. And my grandma, there's my great grandma had this picture of herself in her living room of when she was young, and her husband was, I think, probably out to war or something like that. She would have been in her early to mid 20s, similar to us actually. And for some reason, I always remember it in her house as well. It's a picture that just sticks in my mind. And my mum was telling my grandma at one point that she really remembers that picture, and she would actually quite like to have that picture if my grandma didn't have it, or if they were getting rid of all of my great grandma's stuff or whatever like that.
Yeah.
So my grandma had remembered that, and she'd searched all the house to try and find it, and she finally found this picture, and she got it professionally copied and also enlarged and framed and everything, so she could give my mum a copy of this nice picture of when my great grandma was younger. So that was a really nice one. That made her cry. So that it was quite awkward actually, because we were all sat around my mum's bed while she's tucked into bed. She's just been given breakfast and she's just looking at this picture crying, and we're all like, "Oh, that's nice, isn't it?" And she's like,
Christmas.
So that was a nice one. Another one that was it was nice, but it was more funny was my auntie had got this like owl ornament. It's like a garden ornament. It was, I think it was like handmade or something. It was really well crafted, and it was made of metal, and it had different panels on it, and they were all painted different colours, so it was really colourful. But the way it was kind of shaped, it meant that the like bottom bit of it, where its feet were, was like a tray, so you could put bird food on it, you can hang it out, and it looked really nice. And we were all saying, "Oh, that looks really quite nice. That's it's nice how that's painted. It's really colourful. It's quite artsy." And we were all doing that, and we just finished quite admiring this thing. And my granddad turned it and went, "That's weird." He just, we weren't listening. He weren't listening at all. He was busy opening his own present. He just went, "That's weird." And everyone was like, "All right, great, thanks, Grandad." He's quite funny like that. He don't give a fuck about anyone. We'd come up with this like system of like, why don't we each give out us presents, and then we can all pay attention to what everyone's getting. So, for example, like my mum would give out all the presents that they'd brought from her and my stepdad, and then people would open them one at a time. So my grandma would open hers, then my cousin might open theirs, and stuff like that. My granddad completely ignored that. he just started going. Someone had handed him a present, he'd demolish it. He's got one arm. He's not like he's like that eager. He does it slowly, but he just don't fucking care. He just kept going. He got a great present for him, to be fair. He got this like big thing of various different tomato seeds. He loves planting tomatoes. He's got a bunch of different varieties to plant now. And he'd opened it, and he were looking through all these different seeds. And so someone else had started opening theirs, and we're all trying to look at theirs, and they were like discussing what they'd opened, and every so often he'd go, "Grey bastards," and like that's like a name of one of the tomatoes or something. And he'd start waving it, and people say, "Well, like, yeah, Grandad, we've looked at yours," and then he'll stop telling us, and then he'll go, "Ooh, red polyps," and it's like, "Fuck off!" Trying to open presents here, and then he's like, "Yellow glacier," like, "Wait, it's tomatoes, Grandad. We've seen them." Oh my god, it was annoying but really funny. Speaking of annoying, and also not funny at all, have you heard the Lad Baby Christmas single this year, Judd?
No.
Oh my fucking god!
I hope this is
this may be the worst song I've ever fucking heard. I'm gonna share it with you now if I can.
Oh god! I was just gonna say, this doesn't mean we have to listen to it, does it?
I think I'm gonna have to get it up on YouTube actually. 'Cause, yeah, we're gonna react to it now. I know it's gone Christmas when we're recording this, but. What's it called? It's called Food Aid. Oh god, we're not going to listen to all of it because we'll get copyright striked. We'll probably listen to enough to get copyright striked, if I'm being honest. But we're going to listen to enough of it. Put it that way. As much as we can stand, as much as we can stomach. Let me just change it to Judd's face. Oh, we're getting like a shit ton of adverts on YouTube. That's the main problem, isn't it? Right, here we go.
Hey, can we do a few things with you? Yeah, cool.
Just play the song. I don't care about all this shit. I don't care about this stupid intro that he's doing.
Oh, it's just the deep lore.
Look, fucking Elton John's in his video. Look.
Whoa!
Good. Right.
Is that Ed Sheeran? No, that's fake Ed Sheeran.
Stay here.
And then this is like there's like fake will.i.am in this video. There's Martin Clune. No, it's not Martin Clune. There's Martin the Money Man. That you know this money guy, the money expert we've got in the UK. Americans might not know this guy. He's basically only famous because he gives out money advice. He's in this. He's the feature in this. They did have Elton John in that. In the music video, they've got Elton John. Didn't get him on the track though. As far as I'm aware.
He was there. Why did he use him? He was all right.
Look, it's not Robbie Williams and it's not Liam Gallagher. The only one there's a bunch of fake celebrities in this music video. The only one that's real is Elton John. What the fuck? Why didn't they just not do that? It's like a parody. It's like a parody of.
It's Christmas time.
Oh.
Let's come together for food aid.
They're not singing in this music video, by the way.
Time.
Can you hear the tune?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
The Christmas lights are flashing 'cause people can't afford the bills.
What was that? Was that Robbie Williams or was that fake Robbie Williams? Oh yeah, call him Martin Lewis. Everyone. Oh my god.
Yay!
Fuck off!
Get it off, turn it off, turn it off,
That's the
turn it
moment
off,
I
turn it off.
can't get past it. I can't get past the bit where it says and pray for a sausage roll. I can't do it. In the most tuned voice I've ever heard in my life, I cannot get past that bit. I've tried to listen to this a few times and holy shit, I can't do it. It's maddening.
Pray for a sausage roll. Fuck
Fucking
me.
you know that's a reference to one of his previous songs.
Yeah, I know.
I love sausage rolls. He did something like that he did, you know. Holy moly. That is probably the worst song I've ever fucking heard. And do you know, like, I swear, loads of people are wising up to his bollocks because a lot of the time, people are like, oh, I want to be Christmas number one this year. And then Lad Baby's like, oh my god, I can't believe you're trying to take Christmas number one away from me. Mine's for charity. And people have been like, well, people have been slowly finding out, actually, it's really not. Basically at all. A tenth of the money made from it goes to charity.
Yeah.
Just a tenth of it. So it's not really for charity, is it? It's mostly for him to make a shit ton of money.
Yeah, it's for him.
So fuck me, it's so annoying. It's such a shit. It wouldn't be as bad if the song wasn't so fucking dreadful. You think they'd like at least take a few singing lessons if they're gonna try and get the biggest song in the fucking country. It's absolute shite. Whereas the Sidemen this year have tried to. We reacted to that as well. They tried to do a Christmas number one. I think they might have managed it. I'm a bit confused as to how it works. And there's all the profits from theirs goes to charity. So listen to that one. That one's. I mean, it's not like gonna, blow your mind with how good it is.
It's still a Sidemen's Christmas song, but at least they tried.
There's some fairly decent quality to it. I kind of like most of it.
I'm not gonna say that it's dog shit because it's Sidemen, but I'm also not saying we're not. This isn't one you're going to be listening with your grandmother around the Christmas tree as you open presents.
But, well, do you know what we did do around the Christmas tree as we opened presents, Judd? Told stories of days gone by. And I wanted to regale you with one of those.
All right.
This is one of the stories my mum loves to tell about her childhood. And it is quite funny. This Christmas I got extra context to it. But I think it's kind of funny anyway. So apparently there was a decrepit old man who lived near my mum's house when she was a kid. And they always thought that this dude was like a big weirdo, and there was like rumors around these kids that he'd like buried his children in back garden and stuff like that. 'Cause you know how fucking mean kids are.
And that his house was alive.
Yeah, and this story is called Monster House.
Yeah,
but no, and so they would like spy on him sometimes and watch him like. My mum was saying that he'd like go out into his back garden and like look shifty. He'd be looking around for people, and he might like do a bit of digging or
not
whatever.
a
And then,
shifty man.
and then he'd like walk into square, and just like look about a bit, and then like just walk back. And I was thinking,
not looking about a bit.
I was thinking, oh god, I can totally see how kids would have found him weird and creepy, but like, poor guy, like, you know, when you're older nowadays, it's like, oh god, he were probably just like trying to get out of the house, or like he was struggling mentally because he were old or something. But one time they were trying to spy on this guy, my mum and like a couple of her friends, and they were kids. They might have been like 10, 11, something like that.
This is Monster House. This is your mum's watched Monster House and fallen asleep, and she's got it mixed up with your real life.
No, because they were the garden kind of joined to the back of his, so they could crawl under the hedges and like hide under his back hedges and kind of spy on him. And one time he heard him like rustling and stuff, and he was like, "Who's there? Who's there?" And so one of the kids goes, "Meow, meow," and one of the other kids goes, "Squeak, squeak, squeak, squeak," and then this other lad goes, "I'm a hedgehog." And then they laughed and ran away. My mum loves telling that story. She must have told me that story 50 times, and every time she tips her head back laughing like, ha 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 ha. And it's a good story. I thought, you know what, Mum, I'll tell this one on the podcast. We'll see how people like it. It's quite funny. Kids just like, I'm a hedgehog. Because I can totally imagine that. I think everyone can imagine that being them. I can imagine us while Dad's playing football. You know, when he used to play football and we had to entertain ourselves at the side of the pitch. We didn't want to play. We weren't interested in football, so we'd fuck off and like beat each other up with sticks and like, I don't know, sneak around the woods and things that were near the football pitches.
We'd harass old men by pretending to be animals. That's what we do.
I think that's what I mean. I think it's the type of thing that we probably would have done.
Your mum didn't tell you about the follow up to this story where this poor old man had like a terrible nervous breakdown and like shot himself because he thought he was hearing voices.
Wow. So I don't know what happened to him, but I'm sure he was fine because we can't monetize otherwise. Not that we fucking can monetize anyway. Come on. Subscribers, views, give them, please. There's one more thing that happened at Christmas that I wanted to get your thoughts on, Judd, because it was actually our dad's Christmas. This was a bit ago. We decided that nothing really happened when we went to visit our dad for Christmas, but there was something that I thought was quite funny. In that, it was when everyone was getting ready to go to bed, I think, and I came out of the bathroom and you were there, ready to go into the bathroom, and I was like, oh, it's like I'm a Snorlax blocking the way. Judd's laughing already.
Stupid bit. It's such a stupid bit. I can't believe this is the thing you were leading up to.
Well, because then you played along. You were like, oh, I'll play my Pokeflute. And then what?
Well, no, we were a bit drunk. We were quite a bit drunk because we've been drinking all night. And I'd gone up to have a piss and you were like stood there and I was like, can you move, please? You're like, no, I'm a Snorlax. And I went, well, I got him here because I know what he thinks he's fucking got me here because he thinks I'm not big on the Pokemons, but I know what to do with a Snorlax. So I went, all right then, Buster, listen to this. And you swung your arm around and just whipped me in the face with it. It was like a slide, like you whipped me in the face with your hand.
Yeah, because... And then you were like, what the fuck did you do that for? And I was confused, like you were the stupid one. Like, what, when you do that, the Snorlax battles you? and what I found great about that was, you looked mildly annoyed, but you were like, oh, fair enough.
I went, oh, yeah, it does.
I like that we have that kind of understanding. That it's like, oh, fuck's sake, that does make sense. So that was a good one. Anything else interesting happen Christmas time, Judd?
I gotta say, for me, no.
A nice, calm, normal Christmas then.
It was just nice. It's just felt like a nicer Christmas to say that nothing's really happened, and I
Yeah.
think that's why it's been a nicer Christmas.
I think that
Like-
that seems to be a common consensus. We were saying that as well at my Christmas. We were like, it's been so chill. Like, it's not been
Yeah.
that much of a rush round. And I think part of it's because people can't afford to do anything. Like, people can't afford to go out and have office Christmas do number 1. This team's having a Christmas do. Have a Christmas time with these friends. Have a Christmas party with these friends. And, you know, get these people presents and these people presents. We have to make sure we meet them to give them their presents and all of that. It just hasn't happened because, like, no one can fucking afford all of that.
No.
So I think people have just come together, giving each other, like, a little bit of shite. And then that's been that. Not been much to it. It's good. That's how it should be every year. We just
It's been
come
pretty
together,
all right.
give each other minimal tat, and like big thumbs up, and then leave.
Yeah.
Oh, I've got another story for you, Judd. This is another one that we've almost definitely told before. If you're long-time podcast listeners, if you're a fanatic and you remember every single moment from every podcast, then I apologise. But we probably will be retelling certain stories, even if we go on for 2,000 episodes. Probably just be the same stories coming up every so often, because that's how things go. I remember when I was in class, when I was at school, secondary school, I would have been... What would I have been? I'd have been year, like, 4 or 5. That's what, 10? 9 or 10? I'd have probably been about 9 years old. And the way classes work is either... if a teacher's addressing the full class of about 20 to 30 kids... They would, like, you know, they'd say, okay, so this problem, you're doing this plus this, and then you do that. So this is a problem we're going to take a look at. So, and they might ask an individual, so what answer do you have for this question, or whatever?
Yeah.
Or, sometimes, if it's a simple enough one, they'll, like, gesture to the whole class to, like, shout out the answer. You know, like, they'll do a gesture, and then everyone will say, like, 63, you know, like, you know, you get what I'm trying to say here.
Everybody, the kids open their mouths and scream the answer in unison, like the possessed, like on Children of Earth, Torchwood Children of Earth.
Yeah. Just the
Nobody's gonna get that reference. No.
Yeah. I don't even get that reference. I just let you go with it.
Okay.
So I remember one time, this was happening, I was so fucking bored in this class, and we'd been doing, like, shouting out like that at some point already. And then this teacher had written a question on the board, and she'd also been asking some individuals. But then she was really flamboyant, this teacher. She was like a massive extrovert. And she was really flamboyant, and she did this question, and she did this big gesture. So I shouted out, 7! All on my own. No one else said anything. And apparently, she was just gesturing to this, like, one girl right at the front, but she did such a massive gesture towards her.
Yeah.
And I was so
Okay.
bored, I was only mildly paying attention.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
I
yeah.
shouted it out, and everyone fucking turned. You know, like that Bart meme where everyone turns around and looks at him? It was so much like that. And people are not going to get this on the audio version, but I slunk down in my chair and, like, kept like sliding down it until I was under the table. I just kept sliding down my chair until I then hid under the table. Oh, God. And the teacher was like, thanks, Jacob, but I was actually gesturing to Sarah. And I was, at that point, I'm hiding under the table.
Yeah.
And all the class is like, what a fucking freak this guy is. So, that's a good one. That's a good one, I think.
Yeah, I think that's a good one as well.
Would
know
you
what?
have
I
even
think
answered
that's as well.
any questions in primary school?
No, but did I ever tell it? I don't know if I told you this one. Back when this was the first nursery I ever went to, so like, yeah, like the first any sort of schooling thing, and it was run like, to say it was a nursery, it was ran more like your first. Not even first year of primary school, like second year of primary school. Like learning shit. They were like full on lessons and stuff, not just like, I got a thing. I gotta put the shapes in, and this one goes and that one. It wasn't like that. It wasn't like playtimes or story times. It was like fucking okay, kids, we're gonna be solving X. We wasn't that bad, but like
Ooh.
So I was sat there, and obviously like. I mean, I'm a shit, but this is like 6-year-old Jordan. So this is like
your primary school was such an anomaly to me. I was not like allowed to know anything about what you'd done. So.
Yeah. So basically, I was really hyperactive as a kid, and I loved just getting into shit. And the thing that I wanted to get in today was a fish tank. There was a big fish tank off to the side of this classroom.
Did that school ever think that was a good idea to have in a primary school?
It was this big fish tank, and I just thought, I'm getting in it. I'm gonna get inside the fish tank.
When you say getting in it, do you mean like gaining access to the fish, or do you mean physically getting in it like a swimming pool?
Getting in it. I'm getting in it. I'm getting inside it. So I did. So I literally, the teacher must have been so enamored with whatever she was writing up on this board, because I got off of my chair, I dragged it over to the table where the fish tank was. I stood up on the chair, pressed my hands and face up to all these fishes, and like looked at them swimming around in this glass.
Like that fucking girl from Finding Nemo.
Yeah, and then I proceeded to climb into it, and I had my head down and everything, and I was like doing the mock swimming thing.
What?
You know,
no way it was that big. No way. You gotta be remembering wrong. Surely.
No, it was huge.
Because I know you're like a small child. Like you must have been like
huge.
what, 5 at most.
This fish tank was huge. It was on the other side of the room, and it took up like nearly half of the room. It was this massive fucking fish tank, and I got in it, and I was swimming like this.
This is too unbelievable. I can't believe this. Holy shit.
The teacher turned around and was like, she only turned around as well because the rest of the class was laughing. So then she turned around and she's like, ah!
How can you have never told me this? This is unreal. You know, it's driving me mad. Every time I ask, you got anything interesting to tell us on this podcast, Judd? You're like, oh no, it's quite boring. And then apparently, one time in school, he became an actual fish. Like, talk about help, I'm a fish. Did you start singing that?
Yeah.
I'm a little yellow fish.
I did, but as I was doing it, I was also drowning.
Because you couldn't swim. So.
Yes.
Oh my god. There's no fucking way. So surely our dad would have been told about this then.
I'm pretty sure he was, yeah. Like, Dad should know about me climbing in the fish tank.
Because I'm definitely going to ask him now.
I'd be interested in knowing that, because it's my mum that always brings this story up. And
right.
I remember it, but like I don't know if Dad...
Can you send a message to your mum asking her to send you a voice note confirming this story is true? Because it's that unbelievable. Like, it doesn't have to be a video or anything you show me, but I'll know your mum's voice. It'll sound something like this. I love it. Yeah, I remember that. That were really scary. That I can't believe you did that. It'll sound like that.
That's awful. That's my mother.
Yeah, but come on, Jim. Come on. That's what it sounds like. Anyway, we'll see about that. We'll see about that. I'll actually ask Dad as well if he remembers this. That's fucking unbelievable.
I'll get her to just send me a message, and then I'll send a little quick screenshot of that, I suppose.
Yeah. Well, just if she sends you a voice note, I want a voice note specifically. Okay. I don't want message, because that can be doctored. I want a voich note, and then you can play that into the microphone.
I'm not gonna doctor it. I'll ask you for a message.
A voice note specifically is what I want. But I'll give you another childhood primary school story, because apparently that's what we were doing. I weren't planning on doing this, but I've just remembered another one that I've probably said before on this podcast. But when I was at primary school, computers were first starting to come into schools. which sounds fucking ridiculous, but I think it's because we were in the north of England. I reckon if you were in, like, New York, like a decent school in New York, they probably had them, like, 15 years before when I was at primary school. But we were just starting to get computers as something we would learn on at school. By the time I'd finished primary school, there was at least 3 computers in every classroom. They weren't used very often, but anyway, so because we were getting computers, they had to give us passwords. They had to give us accounts and tell us, like, not to forget the passwords and everything like that. And this fucking bitch teacher I had that gave me the password, she'd tell you your username, which is fine, and then she'd tell you your password, and we weren't allowed to change it because we were kids. So they made a secure password for you. It was different per kid. That's why they had to give you it, because if it were just like password 123 and then you had to change it yourself, they could just tell the whole class that and it would do it. Yeah. But they created different passwords for everyone. And there was like, so you had to come up individually, one by one, to the teacher, and then she'd give you your username and password. And there was a kid, well, there was 2 kids, sat right in front of her when she were giving these things out, and they obviously could hear all the passwords. Like, they were as close to her as I was. And I was thinking, as this was happening, what the fuck is this? Like, this is not secure at all. And this one kid, specifically, who I knew had heard it, there was 2. There was a girl and then this lad. The girl, I'm pretty sure, wasn't paying attention. She was like a goody two-shoes and she was really into her work. She was actually like properly engaged in this text, but I really don't think she was listening. But this lad was a shit, okay? And I swear to God, she gave me my password, and I remember glancing at him thinking, why the fuck is he so close, as she's read it out? And I caught eyes with the fucker. I caught eyes with him, and we had this exchange like, I know you know my password. And he was like, yeah, I do, motherfucker. And I was like, what the fuck? And this was like a really big deal to me. I hated this. Maybe this is why I work in IT now. I don't know. But but then, after, it was break was the next, we had a break as the next kind of period straight after that. And I got a bunch of my friends together like some sort of fucking mafia to surround him and be like, you gotta like, I don't know, fucking tell the teacher that you know my password and that it needs changing. And he was like, no, I ain't gonna do that shit. It was like, honestly, he was like, I'm not doing that. Yeah. And he was like, he was being like a dickhead about it. He was like mocking me about it. And I honestly can't remember.
Some
but
people
I feel
just
like,
want to watch the world burn, Masterway.
I honestly feel like we might have like shoved him over or something. I actually do. I feel really bad for what I don't know if we actually did or if I just really wanted to. If we did, it wasn't me who actually did it. I was like the mafia ringleader. It was one of the other kids who did it. If it did happen, I honestly can't remember. No, it is. And I honestly, actually, genuinely can't remember if that we actually did shove him over. I genuinely can't remember, but. I
love how you're saying it like you've truly hurt this person. Like,
he was fine.
Shoved him over.
And it obviously didn't matter, but what the fuck? This teacher had no idea what she was causing. I don't know. I just thought that was ridiculous. I still, it gets on my nerves to this day. It really pisses me off. Did you have a computer class at your school? Because we went to different primary schools.
Yeah, I've actually kind of been looking for this. There was this game we used to play, and it was all about typing. And you used to type like words as fast as you could to advance onto the next stage. And it was like a medieval setting. I remember it really vividly, but I can't find it anywhere. I find like things that are basically the same as it, but it's not the one I remember.
Yeah, not the exact same. I had a similar thing because I was going to get it for us to play on Games Weekend. You know, when you came around for Winter Games Weekend, there was a game called Question Art, and I actually think we ended up playing it in early secondary school, not so much end of primary school.
Question Arts was on it was like on the CBBC website, weren't it?
I think so. BBC Bite Size. That's what it was.
That's what it was.
It's fucking gone. It's gone.
No, I know.
Completely gone. It was a Flash game, and Flash isn't a thing anymore. But most Flash games were made into like HTML games quite quickly once everyone knew Flash was disappearing.
I'm sure I've seen it somewhere.
I've seen it a few places, but it just doesn't work. And it's such a shame because I thought someone would have backed it up. And honestly, I looked for a long time for it, and when I found it, I was going to try and like save it myself so I could at least preserve it. But I just genuinely couldn't find it anywhere. And it was just this like little dude who lived in this like floating island, and then someone kind of like fucking turns up in this hot air balloon and like messes with your shit or something, and you have to go and find something that floats off. I can't remember. I need to play it again to realize.
You'd have to play it, or you'd have to watch somebody playing it.
Yeah,
or something.
watch a playthrough or something.
The thing is, the whole thing's just so trippy because it's just dripping in this like weird atmosphere.
Yeah, and this
it's like
odd art style that nothing else had. No other kids game had that atmosphere that this thing had. I've actually got a game for us to play at some point. Next time you're over to play, you know, when we do like a game that we can play in one sitting. There's one called Figment that I think we can play, and that's got the same art style if you want to look at what kind of style it looked like. But basically, you would float up in this hot air balloon, and then it'd lose its hot air, and you'd have to like work out a little puzzle on this next floating island, and then you'd have to answer a bunch of questions that were either... Each island had a different theme that might be English, it might be science, it might be maths. And eventually you'd float all the way up and like get this guy's hat or something, I think is what we were trying to do, and bring it back to him on our island.
Oh, that was it, yeah. So what, your friend lost his hat and you try and go and get his hat. I think I've got it.
I don't think it'll run.
I don't think it might not be running properly. I'm desperately trying to find it now as well.
If we can find that game, we should 100% play Question Art. I don't think we'd have to do it in person either. It would not take long. It might only take 15 minutes to complete that whole fucking game. It's still for like, you know, basically primary school level of stuff. I think even Judd could answer those questions.
It'll take me a good 2 hours. That'll get me.
That was a great game, though. That was great. You know, when you had computer class at school, at primary school, I remember one time we were doing a class on plants, and we happened to be in the computer room around plants, and
oh, I know this story.
And one of the things that you learn about with to do with plants in primary school is the reproductive system of plants. So, you know, one of the things was look up the reproductive system of plants. But they didn't say look up the reproductive system of plants.
Yep.
So I just Googled the reproductive system and got a whole lot of diagrams of vaginas. Yeah. And the thing is, it didn't come up with any like graphic imagery of any vaginas or anything like that. It just came up with like the diagram of the whole female genitalia, which, if you're a kid, that just looks like a weird shape with a bunch of shit going on.
That almost looks like it could be something to do with a flower, maybe.
Yeah, so I was looking at this fucking reproductive system and looking at like the
You're like
worksheet
turning your head to the side trying to work it out. It's like,
I'm like, what is all this shit going on?
What's this clitoris thing I've just found? What is this?
So I was like, eggs? Plants have eggs? That don't make any sense. I ain't ever eaten a plant egg before. So I put my hand up and I called the teacher over. I'm like, basically yo, what the fuck is this shit? And she's like, type in plant reproductive system. And I'm like, oh, you fixed it, thanks. I didn't realise that I'd accidentally been staring at it for half an hour.
Yeah.
And it's only like when I got to like year 8 at secondary school, when I was like 13 or whatever, that I was like, oh, that was vaginas.
Oh, it's like a dang old pussy.
Did no one do that one? Because I feel like that must have been a quite common thing.
I don't know. I just feel like the teacher should have known to say, like, come on. But whatever.
When did you have actual sex education at school, though?
It was, you know, it was year 6 in primary school.
Which is
And-
around the age of 11. maybe
11 or
10.
12, yeah. Yeah. Oh, no, not 12?
12
too
probably
old?
not. I think 12, you're talking year 7. That's just starting
Okay.
secondary school.
So, yeah, I was like 11, I'd say then. And I remember as teacher in year 6, we're always a bit of a fucking wild case because we had this one guy, I'm not going to say his name, I almost just said his name,
You have to
who
give
was
him a
in
fake
year,
name.
Mr. Smockley, who
fake
was the teacher of year 5, was just a cunt. And like he was not
He was just a
even
cunt.
all the like all of the even all the parents knew as a cunt, and all the other teachers knew as a cunt.
We had a guy in my
So-
secondary school who were like that, and we just called him Mr. Bastard.
Yeah.
It was a bit ironic because it sounds slightly like his actual name.
So we we left his when we moved on to the next year, and then the next one was like she had like the potential to be a massive cunt, but usually she was pretty sound and fair. But you never knew what her triggers were.
Yeah.
You never know what had set her off. So I remember being sat down in this class, and it was like we're just about to learn like sex ed. We're learn about to do the thing, and somehow like. I somehow already knew about sexually transmitted diseases. Like I knew what they were. Like I already,
Somehow
I knew
your
I
mind
s-
had been
I
infected early on.
I'd somehow already known that was a thing that could happen through sex. So, like when we were just about to start like watching the stuff and learning about it, the teacher said something like, "Now, what are we gonna do before we watch the thing?" And like some of the kids said, "Oh, we're going to be respectful, and we're not going to, And one of the things I said, I was like, "Oh, we're not going to make fun of any of the people with any diseases that we might see." And that's what I said. I thought I'm like saying a nice thing here. I'm like saying, and I'm sort of proving that I know a little bit of something what's going on. And that really fucking set her off for some reason. She went like, "What? What are you talking about? We're not going to be learning about. Get outside right now!" And I'm like, "Oh, what is happening?" I'm like,
It's so
I said
weird
a
because
nice- I said a
everyone remembers
nice
that about
thing.
teachers, don't
Yeah.
they? Like, there's certain
Yeah.
teachers that were just like, "What the fuck?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah,
Stop
I'm like-
it!"
I'm like, even if we aren't learning about that today, I like that's a nice thing I just said. I was like, I'm like, don't, it's like a 10-year-old. I'm sat there like, don't make fun of anybody. And she's like, well, how dare you say don't make fun of anybody when
Yeah,
we're not
don't
talking
make fun of the
about them?"
AIDS people.
Yeah.
I
It's
had
like,
a
what
similar
the
experience with
whatever.
a teacher who was super like condescending, like all the time. And like I remember one time they were on about, and I understand why she might have been getting annoyed, but when you're trying to teach kids something, I think it's fine. So someone would like she was telling us about taxes. This was at the same
Yeah.
sort of age. I'd have been 10, probably 11. And telling us about taxes and saying how, and you have to pay your taxes is one of the things. And she said what taxes were, and you say, and you have to pay them. And I put my hand up and basically said, but you don't have to pay them, but you'll get in trouble if you don't. Like, is it like basically being like, it's not that you have to pay them, like as in you have to breathe. It's more like you're supposed to pay them, and like people pay different amounts. Like you don't always have to pay them. Like some people are tax exempt from things. Like this is what I was getting at. Like you don't have to pay them, but you'll probably get in trouble if you don't pay the ones you're supposed to. She fucking was like, no, you have to pay them. And it felt like she was like, you have to pay them and don't question me, you little fucking shit. And she made me go and sit in the fucking corner of the room or some shit. I don't know if she actually made me do that specifically, but she punished me in some sort of way like that. Or maybe like go out of the class like you said. I was thinking, the fuck? What's wrong with this bitch? And and she'd do all sorts of stuff like that. She was super condescending when you were actually genuinely asking about stuff.
Yeah.
And I remember my mum and stepdad, but like most of my mum, went to have a parents' evening, and this same teacher sat them down in like kids' chairs, so they were like crouched on the floor while she were like lording over them.
Yeah.
And she were being like that to my mum. And my mum went, "I'm gonna stop you there for a second. You're gonna stop talking down to me now." She was like, because she totally was. And my mum got home and she was like, "Yeah, that teacher sucks." You were right. She's really condescending. Because honestly, I genuinely think I think a lot of the time people will remember back to these stories and think, "Oh, but I was probably being a little shit." But no, have some faith in yourself. You weren't necessarily, and also that scenario proved to me that I was actually being reasonable, and it's unfair to just kind of assume that because someone's a kid, they're probably the one being a dick, you know?
Yeah. No, I think I had one of a teacher who was like this, and she was really fucking weird as well. And I can't even remember what I did wrong, but I'd not done anything wrong. I'd done almost a full sheet of work, which back then for a kid it was it was a good amount of work. It was and for some reason she just wasn't pleased with it at all, and she proper had a go at me in class, and then she sort of called my parents in, and she was like, he thinks this is acceptable, and this, I think this is the one that Dad had said about before, where it's she'd called me out of work for fucking nothing.
Yeah.
And I was really pissed off. I don't know, he's probably brought it up before, but it's
yes.
Yeah, some teachers just have power trips. It's crazy.
I swear it's
crazy,
weird because we're always
crazy.
being told nowadays how overworked teachers are, and they have to spend their own time doing lesson plans and things like that. And I'm not saying that that's not true, but when I was at school, it seemed like they must have been fucking bored or something.
Yeah.
That they just wanted to, I don't know, cause a problem and have some sort of drive. It's fucking leave them alone. Plus, it's fucking primary school. It's glorified daycare, for fuck's sake. You don't actually really learn that much in primary school at all. I'm sorry, if it takes you 6 years to learn how to do your times tables, come on. And I know that they're young kids, but it's a glorified daycare for people who can't look after the kids because they're working. That's what primary school basically is. But I don't know. There was some funny, weird stories from primary school. Do we have an update from your mum, Judd? Has she replied?
Hold on.
Oh, have we got it? Have we actually got it?
Well, she sent me a message saying, "When do you need it for?" Yeah, I can confirm that you're a fish murderer.
That's unrelated. Just generally is a fish murderer.
Several of the fish died in this attempt, as you can imagine. I'll just say we're doing it now. So if you can, then now. But if not, whenever. Yeah. And I'll play it.
Worst
next
case
week.
Scenario, we might shove it on, shove the audio recording on next podcast, and hopefully remember it.
But there you go. So there you go.
That's all, folks. We got it. So that's a great reason to subscribe to the YouTube channel, follow on Twitch, follow on Spotify or Apple or whatever you listen to this on. Because, next week we might get confirmation as to whether Judd's outlandish story was fucking bullshit. Because most of the time I've learnt to believe Judd's stories regardless of what it is, because I've been around him enough to know some of the ridiculous shit that happens to him. But even that one's a bit much. Even you've got to admit, Judd, that's an outlandish fucking story. That's In-Betweeners. That's something like that. So I don't know about that, but I think that's been a podcast. I think that's been a good one. A little Christmas catch-up, a little fucking childhood stories dealio. I was going to go through some silly phobias and see what we think of those, but we'll probably do that in the next podcast unless anything interesting happens. The next podcast will be in the new year, so I'm sure there'll be New Year's stuff to talk about then as well. So like I said before, make sure you follow or subscribe or anything like that. And a genuine, sincere thank you to anyone who listens or watches this, because it's pretty nice. Pretty nice.
Pretty cool. Pretty alright if you're champ.
And as always, we're going to finish this podcast with Judd's regular outro words.
Glub